Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Take His Whistle after a extended absence. Parker and Josh are back. We got a new branding, as you can see, so we will be right back to get this thing all started.
Oh, come on! Somebody take his whistle!
What's going on, everybody? Parker is here, as well as Josh. Take His Whistle.
Everyone?
A very long absence, but we're back. Josh, how are you today?
Dude, it's going good. It's been a really long time. That national championship of the college football playoffs games the other day was awesome. I can't believe I got my Ohio State prediction right. I just had a feeling. I had a feeling they were going to win the whole time, but no. Obviously, I'm kidding. The college football playoffs were months ago at this point. It's been a while, but it feels good to be back. And obviously, like you said, we got a whole little rebrand here for any visual viewers. But it's just something we wanted to do, so we got that done. But yeah, good to be back.
Yeah, no, I logged into the Take His Whistle Twitter right before we started recording, and the last thing that I posted on it, which I hadn't been really posting too much on the Twitter, but the last thing I did post was, I think it was after the second round, what we got right and what we got wrong, and then it just went quiet. It just like, there was no activity on the Instagram, on the Twitter, obviously the YouTube. Yeah, so it's been quite the absence. Me and Josh both, I think we can agree that our lives got pretty busy, and unfortunately, Take His Whistle did have to kind of take a back seat for a little bit. But we were both super excited to come back, almost as like a new season, as you could probably say, with the new branding. But Josh, we got a lot to talk about. Not only did we miss college football playoffs championship and really the transfer portal, missed practically all of basketball season, and a basketball season that was super fun for both Kentucky and Louisville. And I think that's where we're going to start first, as we're kind of getting back into the swing of things here. Yeah, right. So obviously, this doesn't need to be stated. Florida ended up winning March Madness, won the national championship, beat Houston in that game in a March Madness that was very
Chalk.
Chalk, yeah. Obviously, 4 number 1 seeds in the Final Four. Josh, let's get away from the rest of the teams and let's really focus on Kentucky and Louisville here and how they did. Let's start with Louisville here. Had the new coach, first-year coach, Pat Kelsey. I think that a lot of people thought that he would do better than, dare I say his name, that one guy. But I don't think people really expected Pat Kelsey and Louisville to have the year that they did. And there was a 3-month stretch where they were dominant, right? Tell me about that from a Louisville perspective, just Louisville basketball this past year, an overview of it.
Yeah, okay, so we, before the season, obviously I think where we ended off with the whole Take His Whistle YouTube channel and everything like that, we ended off with the solo videos that you and me were making about Pat Kelsey and Mark Pope being new hires, which is ironic seeing how they both did in their first years. But yeah, there was a lot of optimism about Pat Kelsey coming into the season. A lot of people were hoping that he would be better than thou who shall not be named. But you know, I don't think people expected us to finish the season the way we did. We came in and we had a team that we were excited to watch, a team full of guys that we were all excited to watch. And the season starts. Okay, we start off undefeated. We go all the way to I wanna say, I don't have it pulled up in front of me, but I want to say it was 5-0, 6-0, something like that. And then
Well, you had that loss early. Are you talking about ACC schedule? I'm sorry.
no, I think because God, now I'm not remembering the season that just happened because we went to the
Well,
Bahamas.
because if you're talking about the beginning of this,
we
you guys lost to Tennessee like the second game of the season.
Okay, so we had one loss at the beginning of the season, but we started off really strong, and then we lost in the Battle for Atlantis Championship against Oklahoma, which gave us our second loss. After that loss, which, by the way, in that loss, we lost arguably our most anticipated player coming into this season in Kason Pryor. He was probably going to be the best player, if not the second best player, seeing as who I'll get to later, Chucky Hepburn turned out. But even potentially even third best player with how Fat turned out towards the end of the year. But I mean, but we lost KP. We lost Kason Pryor at the beginning of the season to a torn ACL. And before the season really even got started, and that hit us hard. And then we went on a losing skid. I mean, we lost four or five games in a row. We were going into ACC play with a 1 win over 500 record, and then we just won, and then we won again, and then we won again, and again, and again, and again, and we winded up going on a 11-game win streak, 12-game win streak, something like that, and winded up losing to Georgia Tech finally in like the middle of, what was it, January, December. It was I have all my dates completely scrambled right now, but which
February 1st.
Yeah, so we went undefeated in ACC play all the way until February, which is just insane, and it was so ecstatic it was so awesome to watch this team play this year. It was just like it was so, and I don't mean to be corny at this point, but it was so reviving to watch a program like us and a team like this all season, and it was just awesome. It was so fun. It was so fun to watch. This team was so exciting to watch. And then, after that Georgia Tech loss, we then go on another winning streak going through the ACC tournament, and we made it to the ACC championship for the first time in our ACC history, which to some might be shocking, but yes, this was our first ACC championship in basketball, where we lost to Duke 73 to 62. However, I think we played pretty good against Duke, all things considered. I just think, it was kind of the same thing about what happened earlier in the season when we played them. Our guys just got tired. At the end of the day, they had more depth than we did at this point in the season. At this point in the season, by the way, we had lost 3 guys to injury to the season. Corin Johnson being one of them. He was dealing with a shoulder injury earlier in the season, wound up taking a medical red shirt for the rest of the year, and then he wound up actually dipping out after the season, and he headed to Ole Miss with Travis Perry. And then let's see. And then obviously you had Ali Khalifa and Kobe Rogers, who were medically redshirt from the beginning of the season. You had KP, who went down. I'm just going to say it. You had KP, who went down in the Oklahoma game, tore his ACL. He was out for the season. So that's 4 guys right there. And then you had Kadir, who dealt with a broken arm for the better half of the first half of this year. So he was out for the beginning of conference play and then finally came in towards the end. But we had guys who stepped up everywhere. Terrence Edwards stepped up, came through when it was needed, and he really showed out. Rain Smith, multiple games where he was just shooting lights out. He was so fun to watch. Yeah. And Parker, I know you personally, you might not want to admit it, but I know you personally really like to watch him hoop just because he was a lefty and he could shoot the lights out on any given day. Set the game record for most threes in a game in program history. In the same game that Chucky Hepburn set the assist record in a game for us, and that was That was in the SMU game, if I remember correctly, which we won 98 to 73. It was a beatdown, which a lot of these conference games tended to be, because all things considered, this was a down year in the ACC. In the ACC basketball, this was a real down year, and hopefully it can be better next year. But we were able to take advantage of a down ACC. And yes, I'll say it. I'll be the first one to say it. We were able to take advantage of a down ACC, and end of the day, I'll go ahead and wrap up my recap. But end of the day, here's 3 points. Chucky Hepburn won Defensive Player of the Year in the ACC. I don't think very many people saw that coming. I think a lot of people knew he would be in the running. A lot of people figured he would get some votes, but I don't think a lot of people figured he would win, especially over guys like Cooper Flagg, who, were outstanding on defense all year.
Yeah.
And then,
the big man for Duke. Or
Malawach. Or Malawach. He was one of the best shot blocking bigs we've seen, in a long while.
Yeah.
I told Parker halfway through the season on multiple occasions, I feel like this guy's one of the best shot blockers we've seen since AD, which, I'm not saying he's as good as AD. I don't think anybody can be as good as that season from Anthony Davis, but his shot blocking ability was up there. But yeah, Chucky Hepburn, Defensive Player of the Year, and what was it? First team All ACC, and third team All American. I think he got. I don't remember, but he got one of those. I think it was third team. Terrence Edwards, third team All ACC, which he really stepped up towards the end of the year. Like really stepped up towards the end of the year. Like in a time where we needed somebody else to step up a lot, he was there for us. But Terrence Edwards, third team All ACC, and the big one, Pat Kelsey, won ACC Coach of the Year. Which, sorry Duke fans, cry about it next year when Shire. Cry about it next year when Shire wins it next year. Like, I don't know what to tell you guys. I
really ruffled some Duke fans with that. Like especially in the media.
Not just Duke fans. The literal Duke team. Like, Pat Kelsey winning that award had the Duke main account on Twitter spazzing. Like that, whoever runs that account was going crazy that day, and that was really funny to witness. But to wrap it all up, we made it to the NCAA March Madness tournament for the first time since 2019, I believe. So the first time in 5 years, and we got bounced. We got bounced in the first round by Creighton in an 8-9 matchup, which is the matchup that I was telling Parker I did not want all week. All week I was telling him I do not want to be a part of that 8-9 matchup. Parker was telling me all week, you don't want to be a part of that 8-9 matchup. Nobody ever wants to be a part of that 8-9 matchup because it's always bound to be there's always bound to be an upset in the 8-9 matchup. We happen to be that upset in the 8-9 matchup.
In that 8-9 matchup, the 9 seed honestly might have I don't know for a fact, but they might have a better winning percentage against the 8 seed than the other way around. Like I seriously think the 9 seed is better than the 8 seed most of the time. So yeah, it was an incredible season for Louisville.
Yeah, you're right. In March Madness, the 9 seed has a slight winning percentage edge over the 8 seed in head-to-head matchups with a 51.9% win rate.
Yeah, so that's just...
since 1985.
And this is something that really should have probably been talked about a little bit more. I understand that Louisville, and it's a moot point now. It doesn't matter. It's in the past. I understand that Louisville, or the ACC, was down, and Louisville's resume did not stack up with a lot of these teams, right? Most notably teams from the SEC, just because how loaded the SEC was this year. I don't think Louisville should not have gotten an 8 seed regardless. I don't think they were deserving, or not. I guess they were more deserving than an 8 seed. That's for sure. I'm sure you agree with it. I know 90% of Louisville fans, if not more, agree with me on that as well. They should have been at low as 7, but even then more at like the 6, maybe 5 range. With only having the 2 losses, the 2 losses in ACC play. They were one of the hottest teams for the last 3 months of the season in all of basketball. And I just feel like they did not get rewarded for their efforts. They literally did everything that the NCAA asked for them to do.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like you said. At the end of the day, it's a moot point now. We're a couple months. It's a couple months behind us now, and all you can do is win the games that are put in front of you. And at the end of the day, we weren't able to do that when it came into the tournament. So it is what it is. But I think that's enough about Louisville for now. Parker, go ahead and tell us about your all's outstanding season that you all had yourselves.
Yeah. So hopping into it, Mark Pope, I think, did a pretty good job off rip as soon as he got to campus for his first year at Kentucky, assembling a roster. There was some big questions that ended up happening later on in the season, but overall, I think he did pretty good with what he was given. To start the season, I mean, you talk about the biggest bang you could pause. The biggest bang you could ask for. Kentucky upset number 6 Duke at the time, 77-72. A game that Kentucky was not really given much chance in by analytics, by media, by any of that. Specifically, Jay Williams really did not give Kentucky a shot in that game at all.
When does he ever give anybody a shot against Duke?
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. But came back from like 10 down at halftime or whatever it was, and was able to get that win to really put Kentucky and Mark Pope on the map, really get this new era of Kentucky basketball started off correctly. Goes on to, we did drop a game to Clemson at Clemson, which was just kind of strange. And then that's when, after that Clemson game, we go to Seattle to play Gonzaga. That's where our injuries kind of started catching up with us, where Louisville really suffered a lot of their injuries early in the season. It was more of the latter half of the season for Kentucky that kind of just got completely injury bugged. That in that Gonzaga game, or I guess in the Clemson game is when we actually lost Lamont Butler for a little bit, but the Gonzaga game, more importantly, is when we lost Kirk Kriisa, who was our backup point guard, was actually the starting point guard in that game, broke his foot, and which ended up being a weird situation with him and his broken foot. It was he was going to be back by early January, then it was he's going to be back before the tournament, and then it was he's got a medical redshirt and he's going to be out for the rest of the year, and that's what it ended up being. So that was kind of weird. But, another game that Kentucky came back and won at the surprise of pretty much nobody, right? Down 20+ to Gonzaga in Seattle, practically a home game for Gonzaga. Came back, won in overtime in an absolute electric game. Probably my favorite game out of this entire season, honestly. Then, let's see, going down, we did beat Louisville. Lost to Ohio State in New York City, which was weird because we got destroyed. What's up?
I just got to say, before you move on, just before we glide past the Louisville Kentucky game, I just want to say that game this year, which I know we lost, as in Louisville, I know we lost. I mean, it hurts to say this, but come on. Typically, we're not known for winning that game in this series. If we're being completely honest here, Louisville's not known for winning this game. But what is so good about this rivalry is the intensity and the hatred that you can see within the two teams with each other, and to see that back again this year with that little scuffle that happened towards the end of the game, that just sent shockwaves throughout both fan bases of we're back, like both teams were back, like this rivalry's back. And I just wanted to point that out because seeing that happen was just like, oh, this is gonna be fun again.
You got Brandon Garrison, who was a hothead all season, sitting there. He's an Oklahoma City boy, like born and raised in Oklahoma, played basketball at Oklahoma State, comes into Kentucky, and then just is like full on sees red, no pun intended, when they play Louisville. Like that game was very intense. It had a lot of emotion. It was a very physical game, and it was fun. It wasn't, even though Kentucky was the hotter, the better team at that moment. That was like Louisville was really battling injuries. That was when they were trying to get their lineup. I think they only have 7 players in that game that really played.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure I could look at the box score.
Thank you for pointing that out, because I just wanted to also say, we dealt with injuries earlier in the season, which just so happened to be when we played teams like you guys, Oklahoma in that championship, Duke, Ole Miss, like these teams, like all these really good teams that we played earlier in the season. We were having to deal with these injuries and then try to figure out how we wanted to do the lineups, how we wanted to play a new style of ball, because Pat Kelsey couldn't do I have so much depth that I'm just going to have everyone get to play like 15, 20 minutes a game. He couldn't do that, so he just had to have a set 5 lineup out there for practically the whole game. I mean, when you have 7 guys out, I mean, Chucky Hepburn didn't come off the court. Like, he never touched that bench all season.
Right.
Like, there's certain guys that just never came off the court, and when you have that much time to figure out your team that's that injury ridden, you start to figure it out at a certain point, and we just so happened to figure it out in time for conference play. Sadly, we couldn't figure it out against the Duke, which I know they're a conference opponent, but like we only played them once, and it was before conference. I don't know like what. It was weird, but we didn't figure out when we played UK. We didn't figure out yet when we were playing Duke, but we did come conference play. Kentucky, on the other hand, had to deal with all their injuries later in the season, and which I'm sure Parker will mention at some point. This year's SEC, you didn't have room to figure out how to deal with injuries in this year's SEC, because one day you're playing a top 10 team, the next day you're playing a top 25 team, the next day you're playing a top 15 team. You're playing a team somewhere in that top 25. You don't have time to rest in this year's SEC. Yeah. So Kentucky getting ridden with all those injuries late in the season really did not bode well for them. But which again you'll get into. It's your team. I'll give you the floor again. But you guys figured it out come tournament time, and you made a little run. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, basically that after the Louisville game and the loss that I do want to skip, because that's still so puzzling. The blowout loss to Ohio State, don't understand that at all. We then hop into conference play, and first game of conference play, we beat the future national champions Florida at Rupp, and an amazing game, a super fun game. After that is when our injuries started to pile up.
That was that Florida game. That was one of the most highest scoring games like in college basketball this year. I want to say, right? Am I wrong?
It might have been. Kentucky won 106-100.
Yeah, I want to say that was
both were in triple figures in that game, which is insane for college. There was not a lick of defense.
Yeah.
And that is one thing, and you can chalk it up to injuries, but just honestly, that was Kentucky's biggest downfall this year. Was they were such a struggling team defensively. We did make improvements. Like, I don't want that to go unnoticed. That like Mark Pope really worked his tail off defensively, getting this team better defensively. And it was after we also, like Louisville, got destroyed by Ole Miss. We get destroyed by Ole Miss, and something something just switch is flipped, and we start winning a lot. But in that time span, we lose. Like I said, we already lost Kirk Risa. We lose Lamont Butler for a while. Jackson Robinson goes down with a wrist injury that he tried to come back a couple times, but it just wasn't necessarily healing right, and eventually had to get surgery. Andrew Carr went down with some back problems, and it was just one thing after another. Now, the good thing with that is with all the injuries, we had the emergence of Otega Owe. And I just don't think anybody, not a single person, thought that he would be even half the player that he turned out to be. Ended up being one of the best players in the country. Probably a top 5 player in the entire SEC. Like, Otega Owe was insane. Obviously his 2 biggest highlights were both games against Oklahoma. The one at Oklahoma and the one in the SEC tournament. We'll get to the tournament here in a second. Just really up and down for the season for the most part, battling with the injuries and the SEC play. It felt like for 2 straight months, it was just win, lose, win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. Like, we couldn't go on a win streak. A really notable one, we did lose the Arkansas game with Calipari coming back to Kentucky. That did not go over well with the fans at all. A lot of backlash for specifically Mark Pope. Everything he's done, Mark Pope got a lot of backlash for that one. Don't want to hold on to it too long because it's just a regular season game at this point. But you have the Texas game is another notable one. We were so low in injuries in the Texas game that freshman Travis Perry actually was named the starting point guard in that game. If that shows how bad we were on injuries. We had a 6-foot freshman starting at point guard that should not have been a point guard. Up and down all season, though. Get to the SEC tournament. Otega Owe had his second buzzer beater against Oklahoma, his former team, to win. Absolute games were complete mayhem. I still don't understand how those feats were accomplished. Then ended up getting busted in the next round in the SEC tournament to Alabama, losing by 29. And so now it leads us to the tournament, the thing that everybody cares about the most. And is it Kentucky get out of the first round? Can they? Is it just a curse that Kentucky's basketball is finished? And we did not have any troubles at all getting past Troy, the 14 seed. We were the 3 seed. We got named the 3 seed in the tournament. Had no problem getting past Troy. Then played number 6, Illinois, in a game that if you would have asked me before the game, I probably said we would have lost. And you can hate on me if you want. I honestly thought we'd lose that game. There was a lot of talent. There was a lot of talent on that Illinois team, and they have 2 top lottery picks on that team, and Will Riley and Casper Janchonis or whatever his name is. Illinois was good, and Kentucky did not sweat them at all. That was led by Kobe Brea, had 23 points in that game. Kind of dominated Illinois start to finish in that game. We completely owned that game. And unfortunately, I do got to bring it up. The game that we lost in was the Sweet 16. We lose the 3rd matchup of the season to Tennessee, lost 78-65 in a game that losing by 13 sounds way better than what the actual game was. It was pretty much a total domination by Tennessee, offensively, defensively, all of that. We couldn't keep pace no matter what it was after beating them twice in the regular season. So that is how our season ends. Lose to the team that I hate the most, Tennessee, was kind of pretty bitter. But overall, I was really, really happy with this team. The way that they didn't give up after the injuries hit. They kept fighting. And most importantly to me, the way that these guys loved playing at Kentucky was the biggest thing for me. Calipari did not do that. He was not the type of person to bring in guys that want to play at Kentucky. He brought in guys that were talented and wanted to get to the NBA. And now every once in a while he'd get a fifth-year senior transfer that really just wanted to play for Kentucky. And it's awesome to see those guys and that emotion come out. Like you got Nate Sestina, who is playing in the La Familia tournament, our team, for the, TBT tournament, I believe. But yeah, all these guys
basketball tournament.
The basketball tournament. Yeah, you had all these guys on this year's team completely committed to Kentucky basketball and just loved it. So that's what I like to see the most. Regardless, if you want to call it a disappointing or successful season because we didn't get a double bye in the tournament, we didn't make the Elite Eight, whatever it may be, I think it was successful just because the culture that Pope brought into Kentucky. He, over 1 year, same with Pat Kelsey in Louisville, completely changed the culture. Completely got Kentucky basketball re-engaged with BBN. And now nobody wants to talk about football, Kentucky football. They are just ready for that season opener or that exhibition opener against Purdue here in 6 months from now, whatever it is. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Kentucky's side. I'm stoked about the culture at Kentucky right now for Kentucky basketball.
Yeah, it's both programs are looking up. That's a good ending point for us right there. Is at least as far as that topic goes. Both programs are looking up right now, and this is a good transition point into our next half topic that kind of goes with this a little bit. Real quick, Parker, I just want to point out the transfers that you guys got coming in, as will I for Louisville, and then just go ahead and give me one guy that you're excited to watch from those transfers, and then I will do the same with Louisville.
Yeah, let me get this pulled up. Actually, I can probably just name it off the top of my head. I don't really need it. I guess real quick, so obviously we had our handful of seniors that left. Then we had departures in the portal from Kirk Carissa, who took that medical red shirt, like you stated earlier, went to Cincinnati. Looks like, in my opinion, I think he's really going somewhere where he can be the starting point guard for his last year. And I'll hope that he is able to get that. I don't really know Cincinnati's situation too well, but I hope he is able to get that. And then Travis Perry, which is weird. And I'm hearing rumors that he went to Ole Miss. He transferred to Ole Miss. But I'm hearing rumors that he's going to be their starting point guard next year. He is fully in line to be PG1 for Ole Miss next year. That'll be interesting. I'd really like to see, I'm not hating on the kid for leaving Kentucky at all. I understand it. I mean, his playing time would have dwindled completely. But very interesting. I want to keep tabs on that as far as when this off season goes and the start of the season. But incoming transfers, you got a boatload of them. You got Jalen Lowe from Pitt, Jaden Quinitz, former Kentucky commit, that could be a whole thing that I'm not even going to talk about. Former Kentucky commit came from Arizona State. Cam Williams, who came from Tulane. You got Jelovic, who I don't necessarily know how to pronounce his first name just yet. Came from overseas, from Croatia. Let's see, Mohamed Diabate from Alabama. Who else am I forgetting here? Oh, Denzel Aberdeen, who was the sixth man for Florida in their championship run. He is coming to the team. And is that it? Oh, Reese Porter. Yeah. The most recent. It happened today. Kentucky got another 7-footer to add to the team. He came from Miami, Ohio. Was not very productive in his 2 seasons there, but he is just a big body who I guess is a good depth piece. But yeah, I believe those are all the transfers. I hope I'm not forgetting any of them. I probably am. But as far as a player that I'm most looking forward to, I can't help but most people are gonna say Jaden Quaintance. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go say Jalen Lowe. He is exciting. I know he did not shoot well from the floor at Pitt last year. Actually, not even. He shot really bad, really bad. 26% or 28% from 3 is just abysmal, especially for someone as ball dominant as he is. But I'm excited for him because when you do see him succeed and you do see him make plays, I saw it on Twitter and I'm 100% agree. Not as athletic, but very similar play style. But John Wall, he's a left-handed John Wall. Very similar, just the way he gets to the rim, the way he can finish through contact, the way he can shoot the ball. His shooting mechanics are there, but Jalen Lau is definitely the player that I am absolutely, without a doubt, most excited for. I think he's going to be a star next year for Kentucky. How about you, Josh, for Louisville?
Yeah, just real quick, the thing about Jalen Lowe is that
Is it pronounced Lau or Low?
Low.
Low?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I've been saying Lau.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm sure he won't mind.
I'm sure
But Jalen Lowe, the thing about him is that it's hard to shoot good consistently when you are a team. That's all I'll say. It's hard to shoot consistently when you literally are a team.
I mean, the dude was averaging like 23, 24 shots a game.
Yeah.
Which I don't know where that stacks up with the rest of the country, but that's got to be one of the leaders in all of college.
It's got to be up there. But, okay, so as far as us goes, we have two guys leaving. Corn Johnson was the first one to depart. Funny enough, he is also headed to Ole Miss to go be he is going to go is it front court or back court? I always get those mixed up. It's front court, right? Back court.
It would be back court.
Corn Johnson's going to Ole Miss to lead a back court with Kentucky transfer Travis Perry, which is really funny to me.
That would be
that a Louisville.
If that's the 1-2 combo guard, I really think Ole Miss is going to be.
Yeah,
if that's your starting point guard and shooting guard, they're not.
Which Corn Johnson's not bad, but he had to get shoulder surgery, and from what I've heard, it's the same type of shoulder surgery that fucked up Fultz's career. So Markelle Fultz, for those of you that don't know, winded up getting shoulder surgery at some point, like in between college and the NBA. I think. Am I right when I say that? Somewhere in between, or was it when
exactly then?
It was in between going from college to in the NBA.
Yeah, I think obviously he got hurt in college, but I think he had the surgery before he even got drafted.
Okay, that's what I thought.
That's what I thought. It was like it's not that bad type of deal.
But it winded up being that bad because he couldn't shoot for the rest of his career. And that's the same exact thing that's happening to Corn right now. So I have no idea if he's going to be able to shoot or anything after his shoulder injury, but he departed. And then, funny enough, got a picture taken of him throwing L's down. At a bar, which is kind of strange considering you played a total of like 2 games for us and didn't really do anything, but we supported you.
But also,
you
followed your coach from Charleston to Louisville.
Not Corn,
like,
not
you
Corn,
should
not
have
Corn.
Nothing.
Corn came from Washington.
Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. What am I thinking of? Kobe, the Kobe.
You're
guy?
thinking of James Scott.
No, well, one of the guards transferred from Charleston to
Kobe Rogers did, but he didn't transfer out. He's still on the team.
Well, no, okay, yeah.
But you just got him confused. Yeah, but yeah, Corn got a picture taken of him in a bar throwing L's down, which is just, I don't know. It was really funny and weird. Like, it was just kind of weird activity. And if we play Ole Miss next year, I hope we beat the shit out of them, unlike what happened this year. And then our other outgoing transfer, which happened the day of the transfer portal closing, like literally within the hour of it closing, and all the tweets coming out about how like you needed to have paperwork or whatever, or like your intentions of wanting to enter needed to be known or whatever. James Scott entered into the portal for whatever reason. Honestly, it really didn't. I don't know. It still doesn't make sense. I really don't know why he did it. His playing time would have dwindled, but I mean, he came from PK's system from Charleston, so like I would assume he would know that his playing time was going to dwindle. I have mixed feelings about James because he's very replaceable. He's very good. He's very good, but he couldn't shoot the ball. He was a dunker. He was a dunker. He relied on dunking the ball for most of his points, for most of his productivity. He wasn't too great on defense after he broke his jaw or his teeth or whatever like that. After he broke his teeth in a game and had to start wearing a Bane mask for the rest of the year. And
It's badass.
he kind of, it was really cool looking. But he kind of became a mute point on defense after that happened because I guess he was scared, worried, whatever it may have been. But he kind of became a paint nerd. Like, he would get bullied a lot in the paint by just bigger guys and whoever. Honestly, any big man on another team would just kind of bully him around. It was really annoying to watch, but we all still really enjoyed his game. We all know his potential. But he upped and left. The rumors are saying that Will Wade over at NC State offered him a big bag to enter because that is where James Scott is from. So it would make sense. But he's also taken visits to Auburn and one other school that I can't think of off the top of my head. But he hasn't committed anywhere yet, so I'm not sure. There were rumors like a week or so ago saying that him coming back is on the table, but I haven't seen that anywhere on like Twitter or anything, so I really don't know how true that is. But the incoming transfers, we have Kennesaw State true freshman guard Adrian Woolley coming in. He was our first commit. And then we have Xavier combo guard Ryan Conwell coming in, who, for those of you that don't know, lit up Texas in their March Madness game. And Xavier versus Texas, he just torched Texas from behind the line, like just was lights out that night. And then our third incoming transfer is shooting guard Isaac McNeely coming over from Virginia, who is seen as one of the best shooters in the transfer portal, which all three of the guys we got are all really good shooters percentage-wise. But if you didn't catch it, I'll go ahead and say it. Those are three guards, and those are our only transfers. So I think it's safe to say that Pat Kelsey's going for a 3-guard lineup next year, a smaller ball lineup next year. However, returning next year from his torn ACL, we have Kason Pryor coming back for his, oh boy, what is this? He's a 5th or 6th year senior this year, but he's coming back with a medical red shirt off of his torn ACL. Hopefully he can be productive. After that, he's had a really long time to recover, so I'm sure he's been working for it ever since he got hurt, but it's awesome to have him back. And then at the 5 spot, I'll go ahead and throw him in there with the transfers, but he's not a transfer. He's technically an incoming freshman, but he's also not a freshman. Don't ask me questions, please. He's 22 years old.
Oh, my bad.
We've got a... He's the same age as me and Parker here, but we've got German center Sananda Furu, who is coming in in the same high school class as Michael Brown. But yeah, what Parker just said, he looks like a beast. If you watch his film, he looks like a grown man playing against boys, and he's playing in a professional league right now. So I'm personally very, very excited to watch him play for us next year. I have a feeling that he's going to be very good and a very important piece to our success. But I think he's going to be I think he's going to be very good. He's going to be a interesting change, to say the least, from James Scott to him at the 5 spot. But that does it for us, I think.
Well, I do want to mention for Louisville. I mean, you didn't touch on it too much, but obviously you're as good as I think Adrian Woolley will be. Your biggest prize of this offseason was Michael Brown coming in, pretty much being the starting point guard off rip in my honest opinion. But besides that, I'm really looking forward to seeing how PK handles having all of these studs. I mean, you got 5 guards that probably could start for any team in the country. I mean, you have a star-studded guard room. I'm really curious on how he handles that lineup. I mean, like you said, you think some of them are probably going to be moved to play a little bit of a small forward position. But also, how does he distribute the minutes? Is somebody not going to get their minutes? Maybe, especially as season ends, you shorten that rotation a little bit. But I'm really excited to see how PK handles having so many really good guards.
Yeah, and I mean, as of this moment right now, I'm pretty sure we only have. I'm gonna get killed if I don't get this right, but I'm pretty confident we only have like 3 bigs as of right now. We've got Sananda Faru, Kason Pryor, and Ali Khalifa, and I think that is it. So,
and that's even if you. I mean, I guess Pryor can play center, the 5 spot, but
he's
I mean,
he's definitely a 4. But if he has to, I don't think he would have a problem sliding to the 5.
Yeah,
but honestly, I don't think he does. I think it's honestly just Khalifa and Faru who switch out from the 5. So like so I think if Pryor goes to the bench, you probably just slide Faru to the 4 and put Khalifa at the 5, or vice versa. If you take Pryor out, just put Khalifa in at the 4, keep Faru at the 5. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting. And for all I know, we could play extra small ball and throw one of these guards in at the 4. Because one of them is going to play the 3. Like that's just a given. Like one of them's playing the 3, another one's going to play the 2, and then obviously Michael is probably going to be the 1. With Woolley being his backup, but Woolley's also probably going to be the starting 2, if you ask me.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can get in the lineup talks at a later date.
I think it's funny how kind of opposite Kentucky and Louisville had handled the portal. I think we went really heavy on our front court, where Louisville went really heavy on their backcourt. You guys got so many studs in your backcourt, whereas Kentucky has quite literally, they might have 4 or 5 centers listed on their roster. We got a freshman Malachi Monroe, Brandon Garrison, Jaden Quaintance, the Reese Porter kid that came in, like an absolute star-studded front court compared to Louisville's star-studded backcourt. It's funny how they kind of went opposite directions in the portal, but in my opinion, still both were extremely successful at that.
I'm not gonna lie, I zoned out for a solid like couple of seconds. So
You're good. I was just talking about how they completely went opposite ways with their their strategy of how they recruited and what they kind of.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think we like us switching over from whatever happened last year. I mean, we really only had like 7 guys healthy at a time, but switching from last year's team to this year's team, which is going to be like super small ball, super like guard heavy, and then like kind of sticking with that same system of like wanting to shoot a lot, because you can kind of just tell that's what he's going for with the shooting rates of these guys we're bringing in, compared to you all who are going from shoot a lot of points or shoot a lot of baskets, whatever. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Yeah, shoot a lot of threes, try to score a lot of points, to a team that seemingly is going to try to dominate the paint a lot this year and play some physical defense.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see.
The last thing that I do want to talk about Kentucky, it's going to be really quick, and it's super big, and I can't believe I missed it the first time. What is the difference between, I think, Kentucky being a top 10 team and a legitimate Final Four national championship contender is Otega Owe. He was a junior. He's going into his senior year. He retained his eligibility but also entered the draft, and him and Kobe Bryant were 2 of the 75 players actually invited to the NBA Combine. It really seems like Big Blue Nation is very torn if they think that he's coming back or leaving. It seems like the coaching staff is extremely torn. They don't exactly know, because you want to support him. You want him to come back, but you also want to support him if he actually is going to the draft. But that is the biggest question where we're at today, is does Otega Owe come back, or does he keep his name in the draft? Because that is 2 different teams you're talking about with or without Otega Owe. But yeah, that's it on the basketball side, Josh. Unless you have anything further you want to mention where we're at today.
No, I think I'm good as far as basketball goes today. And with the transfer portal closing and everything like that, and football season coming up, it's probably going to be, it's probably just going to get slower from this point on. But it was a well needed recap, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it did. I'm looking at the time right now. It did take a little bit longer than I expected. So I do want to keep this just because of the time we're at. I'm actually gonna skip over that second bullet point we got there in the NFL draft. We're gonna hop right into a little bit of college football because that is coming up, and that is kind of what me and Josh kind of started this podcast on, was college football. Even though we do want to expand that a little bit more, let's talk cats and cards football, right? Real quick, just give me something about Louisville football. Give us some sort of media that if it's a rant you want to go on, if it's excitement, if it's disappointment, whatever it is, just tell me.
Okay, so I'll try to make it brief, but obviously, with the way basketball season was, I was kind of a little late to the football hype with football season starting and everything like that. But I've been doing my research. I've been looking into it a little more, and all I can really say is I'm excited. Our schedule, it's not the hardest schedule in the world. We're already getting hate from
for the 9th year.
What was that?
For the 100th year.
Oh, yeah. We've got another, easy schedule that we should be able to take advantage of. At least you'd hope so. But we bring in Miller Moss from USC, who is probably one of the more underrated big name players to go to a different school this offseason. I don't think he's really being talked about too much because of how his season ended last year, with his benching and everything like that. There's a little more that went into it than just him being benched because of his performance, but people don't like to look into things nowadays. But Colin Lacey's coming back. Obviously, that's old news, but still nice as a refresher. Colin Lacey's coming back off of his medical red shirt. We've got Chris Bell coming back as well for his, I think, his senior year. Chris Bell's been here, all 4 years. He's stuck through it with us.
Is he a true senior?
I think he's a true senior. Yeah, I think he's a true senior.
I thought he was a super senior.
No. He's either a true senior or he's a redshirt senior, which is still kind of technically a true senior.
That's normal.
Yeah, but the thing I'm most excited for is our offense, and the thing I'm least excited for is our defense, because I don't know. It just seems like they stacked the defense, but not with like major program guys. And I know that's kind of like picky to say, because I know that a lot of programs are building their programs in the offseason with like guys from mid-majors who are really good. But it's a little like, I don't know, it feels a little weird how many and how much we relied on rebuilding our defense with these guys. But at the end of the day, I hope they're good. I've heard good things about them. I've heard good things about our D line. I would expect a breakout year from Jordan Garrod this year, who kind of stood out towards the end of last year. But I would expect a breakout year from him over there on the D line, and I'm excited to see some of these young guys play, because I've heard that they're now going to switch their game plan from trying to be transfer portal heavy to now they're going to try to build the team off of high school recruiting a little more. So I'm excited to see some of these young guys plays, like a TJ Capers, who, for those of you who aren't in the know, is the first 5-star recruit for Louisville to ever get, and like forever long, back in the 2023 class, I think it was. It might have been the 2024 class. He reclassed, so it's lost in my head. But I'm excited to see him get some play. And for those of you who also don't know, he entered the portal, but then withdrew from the portal and came back within like a day time span. It was kind of funny, but he's back, and I'm excited for it because I liked seeing him play last year. But guys like Guys like Stanquan Clark, who got plenty of play last year. Guys like Andonijah Green, who got plenty of play last year. I'm just excited to see some of these guys. I'm excited. But I am keeping my expectations for the defense low so that I can't like get disappointed if the defense isn't that good, because I know I did plenty of complaining about Ron English and the defense last year. So, which last year's defense was a good defense, but he tried making the defense super complicated to the point where once he simplified it, the defense instantly became better. But yeah, that's it for me. Excited about the offense, not as excited about the defense.
I'm excited to see how Louisville continues to build on that running game. Like, talk about like, first off, you're pretty much your 1 and 2 running backs weren't even in the starting rotation to start the year with Isaac Brown and Duke Watson, and both of them turned out to be absolutely phenomenal. Especially Isaac Brown was one of the best, if not the best, freshman running back in college football this past year. Isaac Brown was a stud, and Duke Watson was right there with him. So that's what I am. I guess I'm most curious. I shouldn't say excited, because I'm really not excited, because I think it could be really dangerous. But what I'm most looking forward to is how Louisville continues that running game, because I think it's going to be a spectacle, really.
Yeah, I'm ecstatic that we were able to bring them both back, and I am interested to see what their touch totals are. I think there's a strong possibility that you could genuinely just have a 50-50 split between them, just because they're both that good. But if I had to,
I think you can make it work with 50-50.
You could definitely make it work with 50-50, but I think it's probably going to lean more towards like Isaac Brown getting more of the touches than Duke Watson.
I could see more of a 60-40 type of deal with Isaac Brown getting 60%.
Yeah. But at the same time, Duke Watson, at least as of last year, Duke Watson seemed to be a little bit better in the passing game schemes than Isaac Brown did. So maybe that might be how they do it, based off of the play and the scheme. Like, you could throw Duke Watson in there to be more of the receiving back, whereas Isaac Brown is more of your bell cow, like run it up the ass and fucking just run. Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to see them play as well, because you want to talk about freshman highlights. Those two were something else.
Yeah. Well, I guess moving over to the opposite side, Kentucky side, in a season that, I don't know what to expect. I really don't. And I don't want to spend too much time on it, because I have a whole rant that I will go on at a later date, especially come closer to the season. The fan base is destroyed. The locker room last year was even more destroyed, and just everything is a jumbled mess in Lexington with the football team. Everybody, and I can confidently say everybody now pretty much wants Stoops gone. I joke about when Stoops gone, but I am at a very much, I probably said it last year, but I'm going to say it again, at a prove it type of year. And because you gotta think about how brutal our schedule is going to be this upcoming year. Multiple top 10 opponents we're going to have to face, multiple ranked opponents. So it's not a record thing for me, right? It's not a make a bowl game type of thing for me. It's just be competitive. Last year was so hard to watch our offense play ball, especially with how dominant our defense was. Our defense alone almost upset Georgia. And so the defense was so good, and just that offense that was produced was bad. So luckily, Stoops did completely clear house offensively. Pretty much everyone's gone. Any name you had offensively, they're gone. Offensive line, gone. Quarterback room, gone, besides Cutter Boley. Receivers, gone, which was probably one of the bigger things, was our wide receiving room. So I like that he cleared house, brought in a lot of talent. I think the offense is going to be a lot more fun with Zach Calzada, who, again, I will go in on him at a later date, the way that he used to be an SEC quarterback and really wants to make a name for himself. I'd say what I'm definitely most excited for on the offensive end is our wide receiver room. I mean, you're bringing back probably our second best wide receiver from last year behind Dane Key at Jamori Macklin. You're bringing him back. You're bringing in big names like J.J. Hester from Oklahoma, Kendrick Law from Alabama, not necessarily a big name, but a big-time wide receiver in True Edwards from, I believe, Louisiana Tech. You are bringing in some monsters in the wide receiving room, in my opinion. Maybe not everybody sees it that way, but I think you're bringing in big names, underrated names. I'm really looking forward to the wide receivers because I think we have a really good wide receiver room. Interesting running back room with, let's see, you had Dante Dowell from Nebraska come in. You had Seth McGowan from New Mexico State? New Mexico or New Mexico State? Which one was that, if you know off the top of your head?
I think it was just New Mexico.
Just New Mexico. One of the two. One of the New Mexicos. You have him coming in after playing some snaps at Oklahoma for a couple years. You have Sumo should be coming back. I believe he's coming back. So, I mean, the offense should be fun. Oh, offensive line. You have a completely new offensive line as well. Offense should be better. Not saying it's going to be good, but it should be better than... I mean, I think anything would probably be better than last year's offense. That was something bad. Defense is going to take a big hit. Not only did some of our biggest names either graduate or enter the draft, shout out Maxwell Harrison for going freaking viral at the draft because he's just looks like an awesome dude in person.
Dapped up every single
Deion
first-round
Walker.
pick that went by him. That's
everyone getting drafted ahead of him, and he sits there and just dabs him up.
Dude.
Like, I mean, like, shout
That's
out
a cool
Maxwell
dude right there.
because that was an awesome moment. Lose like people like Dion, a super senior, and JJ Weaver's gone. Lost a lot of big names. A lot of big names in the portal too. But you do retain some pieces. Alex Afari is a big name that I'm really excited for defensively. I think he's going to be probably our best defensive player. A young cornerback who really was taking after Maxwell Harrison and J.Q. Hardaway should be pretty solid this upcoming season. A couple guys in the portal. The defense is definitely going to take a step back from last year. It's not going to be nowhere near as good as last year. Mark Stoops is a defensive guy. He is much better with defensive schemes than he is offense, obviously. So I think the defense will be competitive. I think the offense will be competitive. It's a brutal schedule, though. I told you, Josh, I don't expect us to get 6 wins. I don't expect us to go back to a bowl game. Not because I don't think this team's good enough. I think it's just the schedule is just that bad. I think the schedule is that tough, unfortunately. You got Texas, you got Georgia, you got Ole Miss, you got Tennessee, Florida. I mean, you got Louisville. So many just powerhouses that you're going to have to play this year. Getting 6 wins tough. 4 wins is realistic. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm not saying that in Kentucky's going to be horrible again. They're going to win only 4 games. I seriously think you're going to see improvement. 5 wins, great, right? 6 wins, really good. 7 wins. You won't hear me say another word about Mark Stoops ever again in my entire life. As long as he's there, as long as he overstays, I'm putting that out there right now. And Josh, I want you to keep it to. I want you to keep me to that. If we get 7 wins this year, if we somehow find a way to get 7 wins, I will never, ever, ever, ever say another thing about Mark Stoops negatively again.
I'll hold you to it.
But yeah, so that's pretty much it for Kentucky. There's so many questions, and it's so hard to really buy in right now on the Kentucky side. So I'm staying optimistic, as I tend to always do, in my opinion, especially with the football team, because I do really want to see them succeed. It's kind of a given, though. But yeah, so offense is going to be exciting. Defense is going to take a step back, but still should be exciting. So we'll see. We'll see. That's pretty much all I got for them.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it from us for this episode. We'll get more into the NFL draft, and we'll recap that in the next episode probably, because a lot did happen in the NFL draft, as you could probably see from that bullet point. But everyone already knows by this
Not only
point.
do I want to go into the NFL draft, I really want to hit upcoming, not upcoming, but it's free agency in general. What type of impact that's about to have this upcoming season, because I got a feeling it's going to be really exciting when it all plays out.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But all right. So, we appreciate you guys for listening, watching, however you are taking in this episode. And we're excited to be back. We're excited to be making the pod again. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys for watching / listening. Peace.